Hello and welcome to Life and Fight of a podcast. This is a UKFC Fighter Edition. I'm joined by the former UKFC amateur featherweight champion in Corey Fry. How's it going, Mr. Fry?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Can't complain.
Good lad. So we'll introduce you. We'll give people a bit more knowledge about you. People that may not know you. So you just set off. So you're about to turn 25 in a few days. So happy birthday ahead of that time.
Nice
So
one, mate.
your amateur record at the minute is a very experienced 9-5, with a UKFC record of 6-3, which we'll touch on. So we'll touch on the fights that you had across your career so far. You're one of the senior really trainers now at Blackburn Predators under Rob Friedman. You're a dad. I like to say former amateur champion. What's been going on with yourself during lockdown at the minute? How are you keeping sane?
Just trying to keep active however I can, really. One thing Rob recommended to me was starting to meditate and stuff like that. And obviously, you say to any 24-year-old, start meditating, and they'll laugh at you. You sound like a rate tit. Do you know what I mean? Me staying still for 15, 20 minutes is hard work. But I've been using something called mindful meditation, because obviously I've been going really insane because like I know obviously you were speaking to McCracken the other day, and he was saying obviously he has like Scott Johnson that to train with. I'm struggling at the moment because obviously I've not been well. I didn't want to bring my brother around and obviously pass it on to him, who's going to pass it on to my dad, who's high risk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've had to do stuff like stretching and meditating and stuff like that, and just a bit of strength training here and there. But I did some pads the other day, last week with Zach, when I started feeling better, and then I started getting ill again, so he couldn't come back round. But I did some pads with him, and I still felt sharp, still hitting hard. So yeah, I'm just keeping the cogs turning, if that makes sense.
Of course, that's what I was going to touch on. So obviously, Zach, your brother, is a couple of years or a few years younger than you, but you both train with each other day in day out regular anyway. So what sort of the coronavirus and lockdown? What's that done? Because you would think if the gym's ever taken away from you, you would always have technically your family and friends, but now it's literally limited to your house, and you're not going to start training with your missus because she doesn't train. You've got young kids. What's that been like? Your brother's probably a great training partner for you, but you could never bring him over or for a long period of time. What's that been like mentally?
I've to be honest, like I won't lie to you, I've struggled with it. So the other day it hit me quite hard the other day because I was under the impression I'd only been in isolation for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I was like, I said to Mrs. I said, we're nearly 4 weeks in, and she went, Corey, we're nearly 7 weeks in. So I lost track of time that much to where, like, I'm there thinking, oh, it's all right, I've only missed 3 weeks of training, but I've missed 7. So, like, I've been just, like, pacing up and down and just not knowing what to do with myself, really. So that's why I started doing meditating, because it's obviously, it just chills you out and you take a step back and you learn, like, if you get any negative thoughts and stuff, how to get them out of your head and stuff. So, but yeah, I have, to be honest, I have been struggling with it.
What's it like, sort of, being with your partner, actually, and obviously having kids as well, young kids, what's that been like? Obviously keeping them busy, not in school. Have you been trying to do some sort of lessons with them, or is it just trying to keep them active and busy? And what's it been like in that situation?
Well, they're still doing the curriculum at school. Obviously, we went and picked up a lot of work for them. So once a day they do that. They do the maths, English and science.
Nice.
So we're still keeping ahead of that. But to be fair, I'm actually, like, sometimes I see stuff like this like a blessing in disguise. So obviously over the last 7 years that Oscar's been alive, I've been so busy with my MMA career, and obviously with my working outside of MMA as well, that I've actually missed like a lot of time with, helping him grow up and stuff like that. So like it's making that time back now. And one thing I have been able to do in this lockdown is really put some time in with my kids on MMA as well. Like Oscar, I honestly think he's going to be like a whiz kid when he's older. I think he's going to be something special, like with MMA. Like he's doing like Imanari rolls and stuff, like leg locks and heel locks and stuff. He's 7-year-old. He's unbelievable. But yeah, like it is a bit of a blessing because I do get to spend that quality time with him, really.
I think it's a strange thing. So like when I was fighting, then I seen your crop come through, and I thought, wow, they're going to be special. And now, obviously, we'll touch on it later. You've got the kids now that are 5, 6, 7 years younger than you, like your Marlon Jones, your Lima Crackens. They're beasts. And like you're saying, the kids up under them, your Oscar, etc. they're getting the benefit of the ground that's been put in before them, which is great for them. What do you feel like is the next cream of the crop? Do you feel like it'll be part of the people that are trained under yourself, or do you feel like it'll be the people that will just make their own path? What do you feel like it'll be? Do you think it'll be someone that'll be under someone at tutelage, or do you feel like someone out of nowhere will just find it themselves? Someone that's natural?
Well, we've got some serious talent coming through at Blackburn Predators at the moment. Like young Charlie Flanagan, he's like just turned 16. He's an absolute beast. Like, don't get me wrong, he's not an absolute technical mastermind, right, like that, but he's just got qualities that you don't see in many kids. Jimmy, young Jimmy Sadiq, absolute, like, he's just unbelievable on his feet, unbelievable. But now his ground game's, like, you saw, I don't know if you saw his last fight, dusted the lad in like a minute, less than a minute, with an arm bar. His ground game's picking up now. But we've got some serious talent coming through Blackburn Predators. But not just Blackburn Predators, though. You're seeing all these young kids coming through. You know, some of them just surprise you. Like Charlie Flanagan literally went from being this little gobshite kid in gym to being an absolute beast with, like, over a 2-3 month period. Do you know what I mean? So some of them do come out of nowhere, but then some of them you can see they're just going to be something special. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. So we'll touch on your MMA career to date and what's been going on there. So we'll start right at the beginning. Before we get into that first fight, what got you into this sport?
I've said in the past it was literally by chance. I literally I was walking past the gym, going to another gym, because obviously I used to be very conscious about my body. So I used to be very conscious how skinny I used to be. So I was going to a weightlifting gym, and I just literally stumbled across it. All my mates were pecking me head. Let's go in there. Let's go do that UFC, as they all say. So I thought, right, we'll have a look. And I bumped into Rob, went in. I think I ate an omoplata on my first night. And Rob came up to me, he's like, you know, Canel, where'd you do that? I said, playing UFC on Xbox. And honestly, I've been there ever since. Literally that one night, literally changed my life.
So how many years ago was that? Because obviously I know you've been in this game quite a long time now. How old were you then?
Yeah, I was 16 then, so about 9 years ago.
Wow. So you have been around. And then the benefit of you getting into it is your brother Zach, and he's doing great right now in his amateur career. He seems to have got rid of that plateau he was in, and is sort of elevated a bit more. But we'll touch on Zach at where he's at coming forward later down the line, sort of where it sort of hits where you are as well. So your first fight is, well, now we all know him as the very experienced Jordan Baxter, but it was your debut. He was 1-0. What was it like going into that first fight? This was back in 2013, which it seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah. Well, back then I was under, like, so now I don't feel as much pressure going into fights because I feel like people are behind me, do you know what I mean? But for that fight, I didn't feel like anyone had any confidence in me. So I already was doubting myself anyway. But for a striker to go into a fight with no headshots, it doesn't really make sense, do you know what I mean? Because from the beginning, I've always had decent striking because I come from a kickboxing background.
Yeah.
But and I had no ground, but I went into a no headshots fight. But obviously, I was only young at the time, so I didn't want to shut me straight into a headshot contest. But yeah, he got it done pretty quick. You know, it did knock my confidence quite a bit. So that's, even though I have been training for, like, I started 9 years ago, I did take, you know, time off training and stuff, obviously, because it did knock my confidence massively. But, you know, you bounce back from this. And then my second fight were a bloody boxing match against Connor Hitchens. So that wasn't exactly a rebound fight, right?
That's so. When you say your experience is kickboxing, so you were doing that before you started. You and your mate started to do UFC. Like you said, was you growing up doing a bit of kickboxing? So that's where your striking came from.
Yeah, well, I've always been brought up around martial arts, so kickboxing especially, because obviously my old cousin Scott, he were a black belt in it, and, you know, when you hear that word black belt, you think, you know, I want to be like that. You know, everyone wants to be Jean-Claude Van Damme when they're younger, don't they? But obviously, I got into that from quite a young age. And obviously I started seeing I don't like the traditional aspect of it. So I'm into, like, I don't like bowing, and I don't like belt systems and stuff. That's why I've never done gi. Like, I just don't like it. I don't like the belt systems. And I just think, I don't like it when a sport is there to make a lot of money, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to buy your license, and you have to buy, you know, you have to have a certain kit, and it's all bollocks to me. Like, obviously, I went to Rob's. I went in some flowery shorts and a vest, thinking I were hardest things come out of fucking Blackburn. And I could just train that way. I didn't have to buy all this shit, and I didn't have to buy licenses. I just literally had to pay for my membership. And I think that's how any combat sport should be.
Yeah, I think with Rob, I think his ethos is, I'd rather you be on the mat than anywhere else, because you're safe, you're not causing any trouble, you're not going to get in any trouble. It doesn't matter creed, colour, sex, race, whatever. It's just you're on your mat and you're an athlete, then that he wants to meet you into the best possible version you can be. And I feel like, and we'll touch on it more again later on, what you and Rob are doing right now, or obviously what you was doing before, what's going on with the lockdown. I feel like that's the future. But again, we'll touch on it later on when we get to sort of that point in your career. So yeah. Jordan was a loss, your debut, not your confidence. Then you say you had Connor Hitchens in a boxing bout. Connor, one of the best athletes we've all come across, just like yourself. And then it was Dave Turner. That was your first win. And then Adrian Wong. What was it like going into that second and third fight and getting the wins?
Again, I felt massive pressure because obviously I lost, then I lost. So when you lose twice, you know what it's like in this game. You lose twice, everyone's like, oh, it's just, it's like not even a hype train, because I didn't even start. I didn't even have a name then. So people are just like, oh, it's just some other kid that is trying to make something of himself. So I went into that, my first MMA fight, and I just went in there straight away looking to take his head clean off. Do you know what I mean? I felt like I had something to prove. And once I got that win, going into the second fight, I even had more anxiety about it, because I felt I had even more to prove, because I'm like, I want these people to think that I am going to be like mint. Do you know what I mean? But I got a submission victory over Adrian Wong. I got a guillotine on him. So I got to show, obviously, a bit of my grappling as well. But both fights, I liked it, enjoyed it.
Then we move on to, I think it's the first time we met. I was commentary for Cage Predators 2 when you fought Daniel Grayson. I think it was for the Cage Predators bantamweight title. Was it? Am I right by that? So you were a favourite going into that. And technically, up until the finish, you were winning on the judges' scorecards. What was that like? Because being in a dominant fight and then getting caught, what did that do to you mentally? Because like you said, you didn't want that to get that second loss. You just come over 2 great wins, your confidence is back up, and then you could do everything right apart from one mistake. Did it humble you a little bit? Did you start to think more the sport's not that predictable, it's not that straightforward? What was it like?
It definitely humbled me, because obviously one thing I've learned in this sport, one of the biggest lessons I've ever learned in this sport, is you cannot judge someone by the way they look. And obviously everyone took one look at Daniel Grayson. He's got this big ass afro. Sideshow Bob, yeah, and everyone's just taking piss. You're going to walk through him, And even myself, when everyone's blowing smoke up your ass and everyone's saying, no, you're going to absolutely walk through him, you start to believe it yourself, and then you don't go into a fight 100%. And I think that's what I did. I came out, and like you said, I was winning the fight, but that's why I love this sport, because you see it all the time. You see people absolutely getting smashed, and it just takes one shot or one sub, and it's the tables turn. So that's what I love about this sport, is you need to be on it all the time. You can't take your head off the ball, because you'll just get caught, and that's what happened. I was smashing him, but it's part of the game, isn't it?
Of course. So that's sort of a bit of road that sort of leads now. I think after that fight, it did take you to the next level, because then around a year later, UK Fighting Championships made its debut. You fought and beat Scott McFarlane by TKO. Back in the win column, in Guildhall for UKFC. What was that like?
It was I'll always remember it. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. It was the first fight I had in the Guildhall, and obviously we've gone from being in all the sports centre into this massive arena kind of thing.
Yeah.
On this massive platform, and I remember it just blew me away. And obviously I got the quick win, and I'll always remember Chris Price came in, and I think Chris Price he got sub in like 35 seconds. And he was like, beat that. And I was like, you fucker, I'll beat that. So I think I knocked Steph out. Not Steph, sorry, what's he called? Scott out, I think in 28 seconds. And I was like, wait, that kind of thing to Chris. But that was a good night for all Blackburn Predators. I think we all smashed it that night. So yeah, I'll always remember that fight.
It was a great night overall. I think as a UKFC, and technically you've always been a part of that, being with Rob and stuff. I feel like we all grew with that together. It's now probably one of the biggest shows in the UK, mainly maybe Europe if we ever get to that, go outside the UK as well. Then next, it's Adam Walsh on ISFC, and looking back in hindsight, Adam is one of the most naturally gifted athletes you'll ever come across. His ground game is another level. And like you've admitted earlier in the conversation, your stand-up is your bread and butter. And you knew technically you didn't want to go down to the ground with Adam. You could have your own, but you'd rather keep it standing. And I think on the flip side, he probably wanted you down on the ground, knew what you can bring standing. Just talk through that fight and what that did for you.
Again, it humbled me, and it makes, like I said, when you're coming off a few wins and you and as well knocking people out. There's one thing about knocking people out is you feel like you're fucking invincible when it comes to it. When it comes to a fight, you think, I'll hit him, I'll knock him out, and that's the kind of attitude you get. And what Adam did, and I'll always respect him for it. He like kicked me in the arse and made me think to myself, you've got big holes in your game. You need to start developing now as a fighter. You can't just get away with just going in there and hoping for a knockout. You need to be this all-round fighter. And yeah, he's a top-level grappler. I'll never say that he fluked it. I'll never say that it's because of this. He beat me because he's just better in that. He's better in that department, and he executed the game plan well. I have a lot of respect for Adam.
Yeah, it's like, as you say, it sort of makes you go, right, I've got these holes in this game plan. And I feel like that was one of the last fights before you stepped up a gear from the outside looking in. Because then you fought on Cage Warriors 78 against Scott Wells, ground and pound finish in round 2. What was it like fighting an event like Cage Warriors?
Again, that was like, I gone from all this sports centre, and then the UKFC at the beginning, because obviously UKFC now has grown massively, but at the beginning it was still, it's a new show, but we were on a great platform. And then I got the offer for the Cage Warriors, and I went, and obviously that is, when you walk in, you just think, oh my God, this is the real deal. Do you know what I mean? This is unbelievable. Obviously, I don't think there's much, between UKFC and Cage Warriors now. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you have Guildhall. Obviously, you've been struggling with the Guildhall situation for the last God knows what. But I remember walking into Cage Warriors. I had my little brother next to me. Zach, I don't even know Zach fighting at this point. And I just thought, this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. Do you know what I mean? I looked at it, and I looked at this arena, looked at everyone. I dropped him with a spinning back kick as well, and then finished him on the ground. And I just thought, yeah, this is definitely for me. Do you know what I mean?
It was a great finish, built your confidence. And then we step into UKFC 2, which is October 2016, which seems like a lifetime ago now.
Yeah, it is,
It's a rematch with Dan Grayson. It's a fight that you definitely wanted to get back. I think he wanted to sort of prove himself. He had just, if I remember rightly, he was coming off a loss at that point against Connor Hitchens for the bantamweight title in UKFC. So you wanted to step into that title picture. You were still bantamweight at that point. What was your mindset going in against Dan, the rematch? And then it was probably one of the greatest fights, top 10 UKFC's ever had. And then what was your thoughts coming out of it?
Well, I remember not long before that, when my granddad obviously passed away. So I had a lot of shit going on through the camp and stuff, and I had a massive weight cut. So that's when I used to make bantamweight. And all I could think was this lad. I think he went. Did he not go? I think he went 4 rounds with Hitchens, didn't he?
Let's have a look for you. I've got him up. So
I think he got beaten the 4th.
It doesn't have the round, but I don't think you're wrong.
I think he went quite long with Connor, and I thought, because obviously I've always had Connor on this like pedestal kind of thing, because obviously Connor's always been the guy that I want to chase, not to fight, but that's the level I want to be constantly, and obviously, keep developing. Do you know what I mean? So I saw this lad's just been in with Connor Hitchens. Obviously Connor smashed him, but this lad was tough. Connor was
durable as hell.
Connor was mauling him, and obviously for me going into a fight thinking, but he only went 4 rounds with Connor, and a hard 4 rounds, and kept going, and eventually Connor got the finish. I thought, this is going to be an hard night at work, which it was. Trust me, that's probably one of the hardest fights I've ever had, because I've actually had to dig deep. Do you know what I mean? I think, I remember in the last 10, 15 seconds, I actually threw up in my mouth, because from the word go, it was nothing but just throwing shots. There was no finesse to it. It was just we're absolutely going for it for 3 rounds. And again, Dan will always have my respect for that.
So in that fight, there's an infamous pitch that we always used, the suplex.
Yeah.
What was it like landing that?
It hurt, to be honest. Obviously, when you've not been doing your bridging and stuff in wrestling, and then you try to do a suplex, it don't go down too well. But I remember that I hit him with the shot. I caught him with the left hook, dropped him, and I thought he's done here. And I saw Paul slide in, and I thought he stopped it. And then Paul kind of like got 3/4 of the way in, and then pulled out, and I was like, shit, he's not stopping it. So I thought, fuck you, you're going right over my head here.
That was the end. Was it end of the second round?
No, the first round.
First round.
First round, yeah. And I remember the crowd were going absolutely insane, and I just thought, let's have it. This is mint.
Like living in a moment that's going to go down in history, and that must have been very, very cool. So that takes you to what would it be now at that point? 4-3. But like I said, I think you're stepping up a gear at this point. Your next fight is against Manny Akpan at UKFC. That was March 17. Now, Manny, just like Adam, one of the best fighters in the country, is a big step up. But if I'm honest, watching that fight live and I've watched it back, I think you proved yourself in that fight. You got caught, guillotine, one of them things, but I feel like it tested you, but you stepped up a level to where you think, right, I can hang with these guys now. Yeah, I've still got to learn with the submission game and stuff, but I'm making them struggle. I'm picking them apart. They don't like to get hit by me. So they're resorting to these submissions, which I've still got to learn. Obviously, it's not the greatest to lose, but Manny Akpan is not a nobody. What was your thoughts with that?
Well, that is the only fight I think in my career where even losing my belt to Liam, that was the only fight that I was pissed off about. That was one guy I wanted to absolutely ruin, because nobody really in every fight I've had has ever like disrespected me or anything like that. They've always been dead respectful, and I'm always respectful. But he was just one that I fucking didn't like him from the word go. Like I remember having the interview in Preston when we had the face-offs and stuff, and I just thought, you are a knobhead. I don't like you. I don't like you, and I've definitely got eyes on him for pro, definitely.
Wow.
That's a fight I definitely want in pro.
Cool. So, like I say, I think that was sort of the last stopping ground for you experience-wise, because then you went through a tear in my eyes. You had a great fight with Jamal Raja that got you the #1 contendership for the title, just the way things lay. So you had a great fight with Jamal. What was it like to get back in the win club and then no titles next?
Yeah, it felt good. Like I remember Rob rung me and he said, because I had a pull out. I was meant to fight. Oh, I was meant to fight someone. I can't remember who I meant to fight, and I got a pull out. And I think he was meant to fight the week before. So we said to him, carry on with your weight cut.
That does ring a bell now, yeah.
Yeah, and I fought him at 70 or at 69 catch weight on the same day. And I remember ringing my brother Zach, and I always pull Zach up for this little shit. But he turned around to me and I said, what do you think of this fight? 'Cause I always speak to Zach because Zach's always had a good knowledge on all UK fighters. He's followed like Brendan Loughnane and that from like the word go. And he went, Corey said he's really good. He's from Falukazan. He's got some really good teammates. I'd probably have a full camp to fight someone like that. And I was like, yeah, I understand that. Do you know what I mean? That's a fair point. If someone as dangerous as Jamal, you want to have a full camp. But I thought to myself, this is a fight that is going to propel me into the top league. If I beat this lad on a week's notice, and a top level lad, that is going to propel me. It's easy for all these fuckers to take easy fights and get 7-8 and all, and it look good on paper. But you need to be beating people like Jamal just to get you on that step up. Do you know what I mean? And I did, and that was one of my favourite performances because I didn't take any damage. My grappling felt good. That was one where I thought, right, I'm an all-round fighter now. I'm not just a striker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I enjoyed that fight. I think it did take you to, like you say, #1 contendership as well. And then for the title is Miguel Jarrave, who's still probably one of the best fighters at amateur at featherweight. He's got the wrestling background. He's a scary, intimidating looking character. But you went in there with the mindset of, I'm finishing this guy. The finish was beautiful. Just talk us through that.
I remember, so he threw me off guard a little bit because obviously these Russian lads, you instantly expect, solid wrestler. He's going to be a solid wrestler. So my head was on wrestling straight away. And they came out throwing strikes, and I thought, hold up a minute, this lad can bang. And it could hit quite hard, to be fair, as well. And I couldn't get any shots off in the first round, but I just thought to myself, and I remember saying to Rob after the round, just picking my time, do you know what I mean? I just kept sitting back. I didn't throw much, didn't, exert any unnecessary energy or anything like that. I wrestled really well against the wall, couldn't take me down. And then when he did take me down, just at the end of the round, I got straight back to my feet. And I remember in that second round, I just thought, I can see him slowing down, and I don't even feel like I'm breathing like remotely heavy. So I just thought, I'm putting it on him now. And that's when I realised that, I can hit hard. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously the Scott McFarlane one, you think, oh, could have been a fluke. And then the Scott Wells, like, he dipped at the wrong time, went into my heel. You start having thoughts like that. And then I caught him with that shot, and I thought, yeah, I can bang here. I can. Shit, not drop the phone. I thought, yeah, I can bang here, and I'll always remember that fight because that was one person I wanted to knock out.
So that makes you UKFC Featherweight champion. That was March 2018, so just over 2 years ago. Then we go into June, first title defense. It's against Pav Sahota. You couldn't ask for a more mirror image opponent to you. The fact that stand-up, great. Your stand-up's great. And everyone's thinking this could just be a 5-round war, this. You both got the ground game. Who will go for it? Who won't go for it? Will it just be a stand and bang? What's your thoughts going in against someone that like Magdy fight, you think he's going to take you down, but he ended up striking you. You think Pav, you're most likely going to strike you. It's who's going to catch someone first, or it's going to be a war. What was your thoughts going against someone like a stand-up fighter?
To be honest, I don't think, without sounding an idiot, I don't think many people in amateur now, in featherweight and potentially lightweight, could stand with me. I honestly don't think that. I've sparred with some of the best lads in the country. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of them struggle with my striking. Do you know what I mean? I always think that's going to be one thing I'll always have on people. So even like you could put any amateur in a cage with me at the moment, and I think I'll outstrike him. Without a doubt. But walking in with him, I knew he was very experienced. That's the thing that was a little bit daunting for me. I think he had quite a lot more fights than me. He had quite a few. I don't know if they're on Tapology, but I think I remember him saying that he had a big record. So I thought this lad's had a lot of ring time. So I thought he's gonna know what he's doing. But within the first 30 seconds to a minute in that fight, I know I'll beat him.
So you get that finish. It's another highlight finish again against Pav. Two second round finishes in a row. You're on a 3-fight win streak. You're reigning, defending UKFC featherweight champion. Then it's another rematch. So you fought against Dan, lost. You get the win. That must build your confidence because you've come full circle and beat him. Then it's what if we talk about it. So first Adam Walsh fight, 20th August 2016. The rematch is just over 2 years later. Weigh-ins come round. You're getting the rematch. He's coming for your belt. You're looking to defend it, but you want to get that win back. He misses weight, only by just over a pound or a pound, whatever it was. But it's now a non-title fight. What's going through your head that you're champion? There's technically nothing to lose belt-wise, but you want this win back. What's going through your head when you know it's not for your belt anymore and he's missed weight? Do you feel like he's mentally broken at this point? Do you feel like what's going through your head?
Well, I thought, to be honest, he's done a massive cut. He's done a massive cut and he just can't make weight. You know what I mean? He's done and he was saying, I think just before that fight, that he was having problems with weight. I think he was saying that he was always talking about going up to lightweight. He's quite a big lad. Like, even though he's short, his bottom half is massive. Like, his legs fucking huge. So I remember just because I was speaking to you and I said to him, it is a title fight. I've absolutely killed myself to make weight. If he's not making weight, he's not up for the title and stuff. And I think it took a little bit of pressure off it because, like you said, I've got nothing to lose then. He's not made weight. It's not for my belt. So we'll still get the fight on. But I remember it was like a replay kind of thing. But the lad's got some squeeze on him, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think a bit like the Magdy fight and a bit like the original Adam Walsh fight, He knew he'd rather not stand with you. You knew you would rather not going down to the ground with him. And at first, I thought, I think Adam's going to try and stand with him because he said to me in pre-interviews before that he wants to get his striking better, just like you play what, get your ground better. But I think he knew you're dangerous, and he's shot in, and he's took down, and he's got the guillotine, and he's got the win at literally one of the last seconds of the first round. And speaking to you afterwards, it must have been a gutting thing because you know someone's got your number. You know someone's just better in that area. That it's probably just one of them things. It's life. You get on with it. But as the champion, you know you've just lost. As a champion mentality, that must think like, right. And in my head anymore, I'm not the champion, even though I've still got the belt. Nothing taken away from me. What was that mindset like? And we know straight after this. So that was October 18. You was off for a year then because of injuries. What happened there?
It was like you said, it was like a chain of bad luck from then. Like I had that fight, and everyone's like, "Yeah, it's all right, but you've still got your belt." And I said, "But a belt is just a fucking piece of metal that's sat in my room. It's not about the belt. It's about getting them numbers on your record. It's about making that state. And as well, it's someone who beat me, so I wanted to beat him. I'm not asked about a belt. I just wanted to beat him. Do you know what I mean? And but you've got to be a man. You've got to be a man, and you've got to be an athlete, and you've got to be professional. And he's just better than he was just better than me in that field, like you said. He came with a game plan, and like you'll always see, like you'll see after the Liam fight, you saw after when Grayson beat me, you'll see after Adam. I'll shake your hand. If you beat me, you beat me. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to start making up excuses or anything like that. I will shake your hand and say fair play to you, and that's what I did with him. And after that, I think I meant to fight Kieran Clark, which I was very excited for.
Yeah, that would have been March, wouldn't it? March 18.
I think that would have been a mint fight. And
March 19, sorry. You and Kieran Clark for the belt was down. That would have been an unreal fight. But then, was it a knee injury that got you? Was it right?
Yeah, I dislocated my knee for the second time, but it tore my meniscus in my knee. But I was struggling to wrestle and everything. I couldn't train properly for nearly going on a year.
So in that time, you knew you couldn't defend the belt. We weren't going to strip you of it. We knew you were coming back at some point. We put an interim title on the line in the June. That was Steph Murray won that in a great fight. We knew you was next. You were more or less fully recovered. You knew a training camp was only round the corner from you. And then you get the unification title fight at October 2019 against Steph. I'm going to quickly try and bring up on the screen for people now. Hopefully I've got the right point, so you should be able to see this, pal. Give me a second. So just talk us through the finish if we've got it up to the right point. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oof, we'll see. I mean...
So just talk through this point. I think it's towards the end. What's going through your head?
So obviously I could see him dropping his hands. Obviously I threatened with his body a few times. And I knew one thing that the commentator said was he looked like he was slowing down. And I remember he shot, I think he shoots a takedown round about here. And I sprawl him and I can see him get up and he huffs and puffs and I can just see that he's broken then. And it went, I could see him dropping his hands off them teeps. You know, it's that teep that McGregor uses. It's that one that just instead of like pushing to create distance, you just stab him. And I just saw his hands coming down and I just went up a couple more inches and I got the finish. But it was a durable lad. But sometimes you can see in a fighter's eyes, especially when his go-to was the grappling, I think. I don't think he wanted to strike me. I think from the word go, he wanted to grapple. He shot a takedown straight away. I hit him with a flying triangle. Nearly finished that. Got straight back up. He went to take me down again. I think he went straight into a guillotine and then went straight into an armbar. So then at that point, he knew he couldn't grapple with me. So he got back up and then I remember I hit him with a 1-2. And then I came up with like the screw shot, the front hand uppercut, and then a right hand. And I saw his nose like splatter, shot a takedown, sprawled it, and I could just see in his eyes then that he was done.
So one thing that we've not touched on in this respect is he's the interim champion going into this fight, but he's also a teammate of Adam Walsh, someone that you've not beat. The guys from Fighting Fit have had your number. That must have been another pressure. You think, right, I'm not going to get beaten by another Fighting Fit individual, a teammate of Adam, you want to prove something that it's just that guy's got your number. Did that play a factor in your head? Was it more of you wanted to try and get a W over that?
Yeah, definitely. And as well, I was wary of that because obviously, the unbelievable grapplers, and I just thought to myself, he's going to be absolutely hammering it, grappling. And I remember nearly every single day, Rob would bring me up, right, we're grappling this morning, we'd go down, we'd roll, and Rob is an unbelievable grappler, and he doesn't take it easy either. So I think that preparation, we prepared for that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And to be honest, it was the best I've ever felt. But going into the fight, I remember I had a bit of a panic attack in the back room. And I couldn't catch my breath. And I remember in the first 15, 20 seconds, you'll see it on the video, he catches me with a body shot and it makes me crease. And every time he hit me in the stomach from then on, I just couldn't breathe. And I just thought, I'm going to have to get this guy out of here because he's going to end up dropping me here.
So you then unify your featherweight title. At this point, you become obviously you've had the layoff, but you've defended the title twice. You are technically the longest reigning champion we've had at this point, even with or without the time off, because the fights that we put on that good that the title seemed to change hands a lot, or they use it as a stepping stone to go pro, which is great, just like yourself, which we'll touch on shortly. So your final amateur fight is against Liam McCracken. That was around 4 months ago, 7th of December. You knew sort of the next step for you for 2020 was to go pro anyway. You just knew it was one more fight, another test for you, someone that you wanted to prove yourself. But coming back to Zach, which we mentioned earlier, Zach's debut, even though it was amateur C rules or last-minute change of rules, was Liam McCracken, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think they were both maybe 15, 16 at the time. What was it like to know that you're going to fight someone that your brothers fought, and what was your thoughts coming in against someone like Liam?
It was the classic, I'm going to get my big brother now. You know what I mean? You beat me up, I'm going to go get my big brother. And then he beat his big brother up. But no, it didn't really play a part because obviously they were both kids. I saw Liam coming through the rankings. I didn't really think I'd bump into Liam, to be honest.
You think you would
because
just
of the
miss him?
age gap?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought as he were coming to the top, I'd be leaving into pro. But I remember Aaron Asda, Rob rung me, said, Liam McCracken's, they've offered you Liam McCracken. I said, he's not like 17. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, fucking hell. It's a bit weird for me that. And I think that was one of my downfalls going into the fight. And I've said it to him because obviously I've been down training at Aspire since, because obviously they're fucking great set of lads. Dean's a good lad, and yeah, they gave my respect that night. But I remember just in my head, I thought, I'm literally going in to fight a kid. This feels so weird. Like he's literally a kid, and yeah, he wasn't a kid.
Well, that's one thing. I interviewed Liam a couple of days ago. I've literally just got off an interview with Marlon, and they both hold you very highly. They say tough, great fighter, knew it was the right fight to have. And it was, you didn't go down without a fight. It was a well-contested fight. Went all 5 rounds. You both were gassed at the end. After the fight, we spoke a little bit. It did affect you instantly it did affect you quite a lot. You emotionally, physically, everything was gone. You had nothing left apart from, it was just you. You was a shell. You were just trying to take it all in and absorb as much as possible. How long did it take you to sort of accept it, if that makes sense, that you just got beat by a prodigy, someone like that? It was just part of your career. What was it like?
It was actually quite a humbling feeling. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel any less of myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't think to myself, he beat me because I'm not as good in this area. Because one thing I have got is I'm really good against the wall. You saw me in the Pav fight. You saw me in the Magdi fight. You saw me in the Jamal fight. You know, against the wall, they do struggle to take me down. But honestly, in my honest opinion, I've wrestled some good lads. Liam is one of the best lads I've ever wrestled against the wall. He's the best lad I've ever wrestled against the wall. Him and Conor Hitchens.
This is the thing. So them 3 people you just named, if no disrespect to Steph and the interim title, the only 3 featherweight champions we've had, and I'm sure I'm right in this. First was Conor Hitchens. He then turned pro. Then you stepped in. You had it for 2 years. Now it's Liam's turn. That's 3 technical of the best fighters in them eras. Conor, as an amateur, was number 1, full stop. Then you step in. People put you as number 1 in featherweight division. You put everyone we put in front of you. You fought, win, lose, or draw. It was Corey Fry. Your name was out there. People either wanted to beat you or didn't want to know. Did not want to even fight you. And then steps in Liam, and there's 3 fighters that I think people will look back on the history of amateur MMA and go, wow, they didn't turn down anybody. You didn't turn down anyone. Conor didn't turn down anyone. And Liam's still not turned down anyone. People are scared to fight that kid. What's your looking back now that 99% of right now, obviously things change, that's your last amateur fight. Looking back at that 14-fight career.
Yeah, I feel quite proud as well, because a lot of people have gone through the career undefeated and stuff, and I think it is a good thing to be undefeated. Don't get me wrong, I'd like to be undefeated. Who wouldn't? Do you know what I mean? But I think that shows my character. Do you know what I mean? I've had some bad losses. I've had some losses where fucking hell I was winning that fight, and it would just drag like a carpet had been dragged from under my feet. But I think that shows my character. That shows that, you know, you can literally knock me down. Obviously, without this sounding corny and cheesy, you will knock me down, and I will keep getting back up, and I'll come back with fucking some fire. Do you know what I mean? And I want people to always know me for that. And a guy that, if you look at 95% of my fights, every single fight I've been in has been entertaining.
Yeah, I think if you look back at it, no matter what the rule set or position or whatever it has been, Jordan Baxter, Conor Hitchens in boxing, Daniel Grayson, the rematch, Adam Walsh, the rematch, Manny Akpan, Raja, Jarrave, Sahota, Steph, Liam. If someone just reeled them names off and didn't know whether you won or lost, they would be like, Corey Fry's game. He'll fight anyone, anywhere, any rule set. And even on the grappling scene as well, even though you say you don't like the gi, you did win a gold medal in the gi and then fought the same day in no gi and didn't do as well. So it's not like you can't do the gi, it's just that you prefer the no gi full stop. And it just it's a lot more natural for you. So you are very active. So let's touch on the pro career now. Obviously, we were trying to get your match for May. Coronavirus is hit, lockdown's hit. That's up in there when that will happen. Is it a game plan as soon as this finishes that you're back on the drawing board, you want that pro fight as soon as possible, or are you going to take your time with it?
I don't want to rush it too much and then be in a fight where I think to myself, shit, I should have took a bit more time. Do you know what I mean? This is a big step. But like I'm just going to repeat what the lads have said over the last couple of days, Liam and Lewis McGrillen and stuff like that. I think the step now from amateur to pro isn't a great deal anymore. Do you know what I mean? I don't see many pros. Well, I can't say I'm fucking pros because obviously there's loads of them. But there's not many pros at the beginning where I think, fucking hell, I struggle with him. I honestly think I think I'll do pretty well. Do you know what I mean? You get obviously the odd one, like if you say Conor Hitchens, you want to know a pro. Yeah, but fuck me, it's smashing majority of the pros. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just going to take my time, but not take the piss, if that makes sense. As soon as it's over, get straight into training, absolutely hammer it, and then hopefully get us fight as soon as possible.
I know it would be a very difficult fight for a debut, but if it came calling up Manny Akpan at professional, even if it wasn't your debut, your first few fights, would you jump all over that, or would you be like, right, I need to build towards that fight again?
You know full well, Jake, if you ring me and say, do you want to fight Manny Akpan, I'm not going to say no. But obviously, yeah, I'd like to get 1 or 2 pro fights in, but obviously get used to the rule set. You know, there's parts of my game in striking that I've not even used yet, so I've not even used knees, not used elbows on the ground and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to smash train and get 1 or 2 fights, and that possibly a fight that I want.
Sweet.
Definitely.
So we touched on the beginning, but lockdown, your partner, your kids, keeping them staying active. What are you doing to keep yourself staying active? Are you watching TV? Are you gaming? That's what it seems to be the thing right now, especially with me. I've started gaming because I need stuff to do apart from this podcast. It sort of breaks it up. I've picked up a book. I've not done that in about 10 years. It's actually the same book that I started when I was 17, when I started work, because it took me ages to get to work. I picked up the same book that I never finished because I thought, I'm just going to finish this. It took me 13 years. I'm going to do it. What have you started doing?
To be honest, like I've just signed up to a thing, audiobook for audiobooks. Obviously, because I can't read. I'm joking.
That's my thing. It's like, why don't you read? Like, I can't read. I'm more
of a
audio
listener.
podcast. No, you're completely right. What sort of audiobooks have you been listening to then?
There's one that Rob's just recommended to me. I hope I get the fucking name right because I think I haven't been reading it. I think it's called Can't Break Me.
Right. Okay.
And that's pretty interesting. I'm just starting it though, so I'm not that far into it. But I've been doing that. I've been doing I've been doing meditation and stretching really. But these are things like stretching, some that I don't really do in training. That's one thing that's always done me head in, and I've had injuries and stuff, so I need to get my head around it. But I need to start stretching more and start getting a bit more flexibility and stuff. So again, sometimes obviously it feels shit that we're in lockdown. Don't get me wrong, but it's given me the ability to step back from all my training and do things that I don't usually get around to. Spending time with my kids, developing my kids in MMA, meditating, stretching, reading, stuff like that. Which is all, even though it's not specific to MMA, for your mental game, it's perfect, isn't it?
Of course. So before we let you go, we'll hit on a few points. So I've got some quick fire questions for you. I didn't do in the original interviews because I didn't have time to write them down, but I have now. So just answer the best you can. First answer that comes into your head. So number 1, ketchup or brown sauce?
Brown sauce.
Mayo or salad cream?
Mayo.
City break or beach holiday?
Beach holiday.
Xbox One or PlayStation 4?
Xbox One. PS4's for gays.
Fork in left hand or fork in right hand when you eat?
Left hand.
Shower or bath?
Shower.
Gi or no gi?
No gi.
Submission victory or knockout?
Knockout.
A war or a quick finish?
A war.
And then an infamous one, Anderson Silva or George St. Pierre?
George St. Pierre.
Sweet. Any reason why?
Just a beast, isn't he? Absolute animal. Just mint all round. He's one of my favourite fighters to watch.
Awesome. So if anyone you want to thank, sponsors, teammates, coaches, anything like that?
Yeah, so I'd like to thank all my sponsors, Switch Youth Organisation, Satan Slaves Motorcycle Club, Lancashire chapter, Woodsy's Barbers, fixing me out with my trim, Graphics Tattoo Studio, Cotton Construction and Civil Engineering, and finally Pitbull West Coast, who are obviously doing unbelievable things with the ambulance service. Big shout out to them.
Sweet. So if people want to follow your career now, even if they already knew you or begun to know you because of this interview, how can they follow you on social media?
Just add me on Facebook, obviously Corey Fry, and Corey Fry personal training on Instagram.
I'll get the links in the bio for me, put it up anyway. Yes. But appreciate your time, Corey. Say hello to the family to me. Stay safe, and we'll speak soon.
Much love, brother.
Nice one, dude.